What's going on, all you beautiful Cleveland sports fans out there? Welcome back to another rendition of Cold Takes from the Land.
Cold Takes from the Land, where you get the coldest takes from the hottest Cleveland sports fans.
Oh boy, this is a weird one to start.
We're done for, buddy. We are done for. We're toast.
Yeah, I guess let's just go over it before we even get into any specific game-related talk. As I'm sure most of you fellers know out there, Deshaun Watson, out of literally nowhere, he fractured a bone in his shoulder in the some point in the first or second quarter of the Ravens game, and it is requiring season-ending surgery. So he is going to be out for the year, and that
absolutely sucks. After coming off of one of his signature wins, I think that was the biggest win of his Browns career last week, and I think we were all feeling pretty good, riding pretty high. I was even kind of talking with my grandparents yesterday because I saw them, and my grandma was like, for the first time in a long time, I felt good about the Browns playing Pittsburgh, and then the quarterback goes down out of nowhere. So
yeah, I got a little story.
Only in Cleveland, buddy. Only in Cleveland this kind of crap happens.
Yeah, so when I found out, it was a morning where I had to be at work, and I was running a little late, pretty usual for me. And so I didn't really look at my phone a whole lot. And, by the time I leave for work is around, about 15 minutes after the news got reported. So I didn't really look at my phone. And I'm running out, I make my lunch for work, and I get in the car, and I prop my phone up on my thing, and usually I'll listen to music or a podcast or something sports-related if it's not music. And I hopped on YouTube, and I saw Cleveland Browns press conferences were live, and it said Andrew Berry was live. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, let me see what's going on here. And as soon as I get into the stream, he's up at the podium, and the first fucking line I hear is, yeah, so Deshaun developed a new injury this past Sunday. He fractured a bone in his shoulder, which will require surgery, and he's out for the year. And I'm driving to work as I hear this, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what did I just wake up to? This ain't real, right? There's no way.
I can't believe you didn't hear about it until the press conference. It's actually kind of funny. So that was my day off, obviously, as you know. So yeah. I woke up, got on Twitter, started scrolling through our Twitter, and literally the first thing I see is the Cleveland Browns post saying Deshaun is going to be out for the year. He requires season-ending surgery. And I'm just to myself, I'm like, there's no fucking way. I thought it was a parody account at first. I clicked on it, and I'm like, oh, this is the actual Cleveland Browns Twitter. I'm like, you got to be fucking joking me. What are the odds?
Yeah, and what's funny is another one of the really big Cleveland sports guys on YouTube I watched, Quincy Carrier. I was watching his video on it this morning. Shout out to him. He's probably my favorite Browns guy on YouTube. That ain't us, But he was doing his episode about it, and he was talking about how his reaction was, and he said he woke up kind of late compared to everyone else. And he said, I'm assuming on his computer he keeps his Discord and Twitter constantly going, which I know a lot of people do. So he said he woke up and looked at his Twitter, and he's like, why is everyone talking about DTR? And then he sits at his computer,
God.
and he's like, why the fuck is everyone talking about DTR? And then he said he was like, I went to Mary Kay's Twitter immediately, and he went in there and saw the report, and just that's just a crusher. That was just a funny story I heard. It's going to become that legendary thing. Where were you when you found out Deshaun was out for the year? But
pretty much, man. I mean, me too. I was literally in bed when I saw it. Like I said, I was scrolling through Twitter, and I'm looking crusty-eyed at my phone, and I'm like, you got to be shitting me. And then I went back because we follow a lot of people that talk about nothing but Cleveland sports on our Twitter. So I saw a bunch of people tweeting about it, and I'm like, you got to be joking me. I'm like, this is some kind of sick freaking joke.
Yeah, and with that. We'll get into the specifics of that, but I'm just going to warn everybody. This could be a sloppier episode just because, I'm not going to speak for you, but at least for myself, I had a lot of things in my head and even some notes written down that I can't use anymore because he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah, he is. The last 2 days, it's felt like a month. It's been a whirlwind of emotions because at first I was like, what the hell, like everybody else, and then I was kind of like, well, okay, where do we go from here? We have a great defense. We have all these other pieces in place with a good coach. Like, what can we possibly do? So the last 48 hours have felt like a damn month for me.
Yeah, this is a season where we lose our starting right tackle, who last time he played a full season was all-pro. He's gone.
Yeah, I mean, you lose quite literally the two most important pieces on your entire offense.
Yeah, I was getting to that. What I was saying was, okay, you lose good right tackle, whatever. You have DeJuan Jones, he could play well. Cool, he pops in. Okay, Nick Chubb blows his knee into fucking what we thought was pieces. Week 2, he's out for the year. Okay, 6 quarters into the year, you're without your probably best player on the team outside of Myles Garrett. Cool, awesome. And then week 3, Deshaun Watson gets hurt. Now he's out for 4 weeks, basically 4, aside from a half a quarter against Indianapolis. Okay, that's wonderful. Oh, fucking left tackle goes down, put on IR, and as much as we shit on Jed Wills, he's at least okay. So cool, he's gone. Oh, backup right tackle, DeJuan Jones, who's been playing well in place of Jack Conklin, he's also hurt. Wonderful. Have a great comeback win against the Ravens. We think things are turning around. It's going to be a great rest of the season. Boom, Deshaun Washington, as quick as he was back, gone.
You say Deshaun Washington?
Yeah, Deshaun Washington, But I'm in my brain's in pieces. I can't even put words together.
None of it makes sense because, like, the way that it happened, too, and the way that it went down, like, you look back on it, I think somebody tweeted that morning after I read that he was out for the year. I think he tweeted, he's like, you mean to tell me he threw 14 for 14 in the second half with a broken shoulder and a bum ankle? Like, just nothing about anything that happened last week makes any sense.
Yeah, literally, like, that makes what he did so much more awesome. But then on the same point,
yeah,
what's is funny is Quincy Carrier.
We should have knew because we had this conversation the day after the game on Monday as well. I kind of looked at you and I'm like, it's probably a good thing we haven't heard anything about Watson, right? And you told me, you're like, yeah, that's usually a good sign. And yeah. I'm just now remembering that conversation we had and looking back on that, it was not a good sign. Not at all.
Yeah, so, as I was just getting ready to say, Quincy Carrier, as I was mentioning earlier, he also pointed something out, which I didn't even know. If you went, it was specific to Fox's broadcast, so I bet a lot of people missed it. They did a post-game interview on the sideline with Deshaun Watson. And when they asked him about his injury in the first half, which everyone knew he hurt his ankle, but the first thing he pointed out, he was like, yeah, he hurt my shoulder a little bit, and then obviously with the ankle, things weren't looking good, but put it together in the second half, got a win. That would blow over a lot of people's heads, but he did mention, before he even mentioned the ankle, he mentioned he hurt his shoulder. So, that maybe that...
You said that aired on Fox?
Yeah, it was on, the Fox post-game.
How much were you fighting through in this game?
Pretty much the whole game. Early on, I kind of... did a little got my shoulder a little banged up, but I pushed through it. Then my ankle got rolled up on, but I do whatever I can to be back out there with my teammates, and dealt with the adversity in the first half, but we bounced back. We never quit.
So you can go and find
that's
it.
Weird. I was going to say, I remember finishing the game, and then just like every other week, they cut away from the Cleveland game immediately whenever we went and go to the next game. So I remember they cut and went to a different game, and my grandma was like, really? She's like, they're not even coming back to the game? We just won 20 seconds ago.
Yeah, but... I'm curious because Andrew Berry.
I don't know when it happened either.
Yeah, I haven't seen the exact play in which it happened. I'm sure I could find it pretty quickly, but I think at this point now, DTR is going to start for now. I'm assuming so. Andrew Berry did say they will add a third quarterback. I hope at the very least it's a vet who can come in and kind of, help out in any which way he can. Please, for the love of God, don't let it be Kellen Mond.
No, yeah. I don't think that's really an option. I think it's got to be a vet that can kind of help guide these other two guys.
I mean,
PJ's had a little bit of experience, but you need somebody. If Deshaun's not going to be on the sideline, you need somebody in there that's had some kind of playoff experience.
Yeah, you got to get a guy in there who, even if he's not going to play or isn't even going to be considered to play, you got to get a guy who's been there, done that, can do everything he can on, especially if DTR starting, So what if it's Joe Flacco or, even Cam, even Cam Newton, he's been to the Super Bowl. Obviously I don't think he has the skills to be really a good starter these days. Plus with his physicality diminishing, but
if you had to throw out a couple names, who do you think are the most likely?
If they go in the direction I say, where you get just a vet guy, like I said, the first two names, Joe Flacco, Cam, Nick.
I could see Foles still too.
I was gonna say Nick Foles. If you really just want to get a locker room guy in there, I wouldn't really want him to play, but you never know. If it comes down to it, I'd probably rather him over PJ. Maybe is Matt Ryan in shape? I don't know. If he's just gonna be a locker room guy and he's not gonna play, I wouldn't hate it. Or I don't know.
Right.
Call up Tom Brady, see what he's up to. I don't fucking know, dude.
Yeah, I think you got to bring in whoever you bring in's got to have a little bit left in the tank. Whether it is a Joe Flacco or somebody. I mean, he lit us up last year in a game we had a 99.6% chance of winning.
Yeah, I mean,
Colt McCoy too.
I wouldn't hate that.
I don't know, man. I just don't know where you go.
This really makes the fact that we didn't trade for a quarterback or going into the season have a better plan at backup, a lot more frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, too, to be fair, us Browns fans, we were riding high, but some of us should have assumed something like this was going to happen because we can never have nice things in Cleveland, and our offensive line's been makeshift. We've had to plug in guys. Batonio's missed a game or two. Tackles are both out, so we should have assumed something like this was bound to happen at some point.
Right, for sure. No, I mean...
And if we should have assumed that, the front office, Andrew Berry has to know something like that's very possible.
Kind of hit it right on the head there. It just sucks, there isn't anything you can do at this point. And before we get into the actual game analysis, I'm gonna at least preface this with Browns fans. I try to be optimistic and be
We're beside ourselves, buddy.
Yeah,
we're absolutely beside ourselves.
That is true, but I'm gonna try and throw out some optimism. The best thing we can do is just get the rest of the guys healthy, get DeJuan healthy, get Jed back whenever he's ready, keep the defense healthy. If the defense can keep playing well, and DTR has never gotten a chance to start.
Get Denzel back out there.
Yeah, DTR has never gotten a chance to start without knowing more than 90 minutes before the game he was going to play. So you never know, if they can get a full week of practice. And I think he has more skills than PJ Walker. I think if they can just put an offense around him where it looks similar to kind of what you were running with Jacoby Brissett. You're just playing ball control and playing good defense. You can win games still. And I think, we're looking at these last 8 games. If you can go 4-4 and finish 10-7, you still have a good shot to make it into the playoffs. And if you do make the playoffs, I see that as a win for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same spot as you. If you want to hear something funny to kind of lighten the mood a bit, earlier, about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, I was scrolling through Twitter again. And I saw a dude who rickrolled me. He posted something about Jacoby Brissett saying he should be a starter in this league and he wants to be released. And I read it and I'm like, oh my God, is this true? And I clicked on his profile and I saw it was a fake. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. I'm getting my hopes up for nothing. It was me and 7 other upset Browns fans in the comment.
Man, fuck, you fooled me.
Pretty much, man.
That's how you know.
I just don't know what you do at this point. Yeah, our entire team, man. It just sucks because our offense was already struggling. And then you bring Watson back in. He has a couple games. I think he played really well for 2.5 out of the last 3 games. And then everything just kind of falls apart after that.
Yeah, it ain't no good.
But it's never easy, buddy. It's never easy in Cleveland. Our Cavs came back down from 3-1. Our Indians back in the day blew the 3-1 lead. So if it was going to be hard for us, we're going to have to overcome adversity like we always do. And one positive thing I read this morning, I know Swartz was talking about his time in Philadelphia. He was actually apparently talking to the locker room and his defense saying, hey, we made a Super Bowl run and won the Super Bowl. We beat Tom Brady with a backup quarterback, so season's not over.
That is true. He was the defensive coordinator of that team.
Mm-hmm.
And, you got to go in as optimistic as you can and just really hope you can put it together still, even without Deshaun. And, with that, we got the Steelers coming to town this week, and this is still a game that's definitely winnable. And, there's still ways you can make it happen. So, I think we voiced pretty much our concerns on the Deshaun situation. If you want to put anything else out there before we get into our 3 keys to victory of this week.
Yeah, I think if you can come out and get a win this week, even with the QB situation being is what it is, I think if you win this week, I think you're pretty much a lock for the playoffs.
You'd like to think so.
Unless our offense completely falls apart, which is also very possible. But I don't want to think about that right now. We'll take it week by week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Like
know.
you're about to cry there, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I'm just trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel. And with that, I'll
Me too.
if you don't mind, I'll get into my first key to victory for this Sunday.
Yeah. Do it.
So, first key to victory against the Steelers this Sunday. Finally, after an hour, we're getting into the video. No, I'm just kidding. It hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
But
hey, we're all grieving as Cleveland Browns fans. It's okay.
I start crying. I can't handle it, bro. No, I'm just kidding. But
I can't do it.
I can't do this anymore. No, but my first key to victory is it would be the same whether Deshaun's there or not. You got to make Kenny Pickett's life horrible, and I'm specific to the pass rush. We're a little banged up on defense, not too terribly, especially compared to the offense at this point. And you're hoping you can get some guys back this week, but either way, you got to get that pass rush going, and you got to bottleneck the receivers downfield the best you can. You got to make Kenny Pickett's life hard because through his 2 years, he's shown, even with his fourth quarter heroics, he's not really the best at making things happen. He just doesn't really have the talent for that. So you just got to, put him under pressure, bottleneck the coverage downfield as much as you can. I know they have talented receivers, but I think we definitely have the secondary to, ferment pretty well. And you just got to make Kenny Pickett's life difficult because, if you can, it shows he has a hard time.
Yeah. My first point as well was about the defense. I just put down defense needs to come to play this week. If we can continue to come out and do exactly what we've done all season outside of maybe 5 quarters of the entire season, I think we'll be okay. Got to get pressure on Kenny Pickett, limit those receivers. I'm not super scared about their rush attack, especially with the DTs we have and the way JOK has been playing. I think we'll be able to limit them a bit there. But defense just pretty much has to hold steady and continue to do what we've done all year so far because at this point you're going to have to really rely on the defense, even though I think we were already doing that. But defense is going to be the way we win games, defense and rushing attack.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't really agree more with that assessment there. This defense is going to have to step up even more somehow than they already have, and this is the game that starts it. Luckily,
they're starting to generate those turnovers now too, which has been nice the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, if they can keep that going, that'd be excellent. I definitely have the confidence, and with that, I'll get into my second key of victory, which is the run game has to find some success. It's been pretty good the last few weeks. Jerome Ford has gotten better. Pierre Strong has been good. I think when he's played, Kareem Hunt's been really good in the short yardage situations. But you're going against a Pittsburgh D-line and just overall defense that's just very good everywhere. TJ Watt is excellent against the run. Cam Hayward's back for this one too, which he wasn't for week 2. So yeah, and against a banged-up offensive line that could still be without their top 2 tackles. We're still not sure quite yet, but you got to really step it up and you got to block well. And I'm putting emphasis on the run game just because, again, with the limitations you're going to have in the pass game now, the run game really has to carry this offense. And goddamn, would it be nice for Nick Chubb to be around. But unfortunately, he's not. I think you got to Kevin Stefanski's got to create some, fun run designs, some variety in there, to mix things up, which he's proven he can do. And, all the running backs have to be on point. The run blocking has to be on point, picking up assignments, double teaming where you need to. And you got to find those openings in the run game because that can still open up this offense, even with, DTR quarterback.
I agree. I actually had the exact same thing as my second point. Running game has to continue to thrive, whether that's Jerome Ford, whether we see a little bit more Pierre Strong this week. Mix up those looks. I'm hoping we can maybe get Goodwin back, maybe get him in on a couple weird fancy gadget plays like an end around or something.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're going to have to mix it up because Jerome Ford had his best game of the season last week, and if he can continue to do that, I think we might have some success.
Yeah, and I don't really have too much to add because I think we aired it out there, but I'm going to point out one thing before I get into my last key victory, and this is real fun. I'm going to poke at Steelers fans here. Let's just compare Najee Harris's stats to Jerome Ford's stats real quick. Again, Jerome Ford, late round draft pick out of Cincinnati. Najee Harris, first round pick. supposed to be this generational running back. Najee has 116 carries on the year for 464 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Oof.
Pretty average. Jerome Ford, again, late round draft pick out of Cincinnati, was the 4th running back on the depth chart last year. 124 carries, so 8 more carries. 532 yards and 2 touchdowns, so safe to say he's not playing Najee.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh, I'm sure if your buddy Drake comes on for the post-game recap, I think he'll talk about it too, but it doesn't seem like Pittsburgh fans are very happy with Najee's performance, especially for where he was drafted.
Yeah, for sure, yeah, and what he's pointing out is I have a buddy by the name of Drake who also has a YouTube channel who's going to make an appearance on the post-game recap. He's a Steelers fan, so that'll be fun. But I don't want to get too much into that because that's for Sunday evening's episode. But definitely.
Pittsburgh
agree.
seems to have this weird thing too, where they have guys and they feel a loyalty to them, and they play them for way longer than they should. So I think Najee should have been benched a long time ago, in my opinion.
Yeah, you remember like the Steelers. I feel like that's happened a lot at running back. Outside of Le'Veon Bell, I mean, after Jerome Bettis, they didn't really
Pettis.
Yeah, Jerome Pettis. But no, after him...
It's like a mix of Mike Pettin and Jerome Bettis.
Yeah, that's a creature right there.
They had a fucking love child.
But no, after him, they haven't
you're right
really had
there.
a
I mean, they haven't
consistency.
had a ton of great backs.
I mean, Willie Parker was pretty good for a couple years, but didn't last a long time. Then Rashard Mendenhall
James Conner was good
there.
for that first season. Then they shipped him out.
Yeah, and then Le'Veon Bell was excellent, but then he held out, and then that got weird. And ever since then, they've been kind of figuring it out.
Honestly, if they just held on to James Conner, he'd still be their lead back.
Yeah, he's pretty good these days. Definitely better than Najee.
Yeah.
But
Another fun stat. I just saw this a little bit ago too. Through 3 less games played this season, Deshaun has 1 more touchdown than Kenny Pickett does.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, just
actually funny. I didn't
painfully
realize
mediocre, man. And it frustrates you because we've played him a couple times now, and he has a winning record against us. And you watch him, and you're like, how the fuck does this mid-ass quarterback do this against us?
Because it's Cleveland, Pittsburgh, buddy. And with that, I'm going to get into my last point. My last point, a little, try to be a little funny guy here, but it was really because I was really scrambling to figure things out after Deshaun's injury. So my third key to victory is duct tape bubble wrap on DTR, because it's going to be a long day. I'm going to be brutally honest here, especially if DeJuan Jones is still out. I like DTR. I still think he has the talent to be a good backup here. I think he has more talent than PJ Walker, and I think he can make some things happen. But even with that, even with the somewhat confidence I have, of course, his first game starting, even with a full notice of starting, he has to play the Steelers, and
Right.
there's already just weird shit that happens when the Browns play the Steelers. On top of that, we have a 5th-round rookie whose one start this year was a horrendous embarrassment against the Ravens, which again was on super short notice, so you can't fault him as much for it. But even still, that's probably a bad experience for him, and he's probably thinking about that going into this game. So, just my God, I really hope if the coaching does such a great job with DTR that they prep him for what's going to be coming at him this game, and he comes out and plays well and wins, fucking Stefanski's got to be Coach of the Year candidate immediately. Because
he's already in that conversation after last week. I mean, what he's done without his best offensive player, and now Watson goes down, and the fact that he was hurt for 3/4 of that game and still went on to have a perfect second half, essentially.
Exactly. And, I just hope that can really come into play again this week. And if they can somehow get DTR ready for the pressure he's going to be under and get him to make good, quick decisions, get this offense to move against this great defense, I'd be extremely happy, and that's kind of my gist of my last point.
Yeah, so would I, man. I mean, my last point was similar to that, not exactly the same, but I had DTR needs to take care of the football. I don't want to see the typical PJ Walker 3 turnovers every single game. If he can just come out and be better than him, if he can move the ball a little bit more, he's got a little bit more speed than PJ Walker has. So if we see this, it makes sense that they see it, and they're putting DTR out there over PJ Walker for a reason. They know his ceiling's higher, and what PJ's done has been, it hasn't been great, to be honest with you, but he's been a true professional. He's went out there and did what he had to do to win 2 out of 3 games, but we all saw it. That quarterback play was absolutely horrendous. So if we can get anything above that, it's an improvement.
Yeah, and I think that shows to the credit of the team as they were able to win 2 out of 3 with PJ at quarterback, playing quite rough. So if DTR can come in there and just manage the game, limit the turnovers and, just do what he can to make the offense, move as much as possible and hold the ball for as long as possible, you can still win games and you can make the playoffs. And, you never know in this league. It's any given Sunday. The Eagles won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. The Broncos won a Super Bowl with literally a crippled man version of Peyton Manning at quarterback. So, you never know what can happen. I'm not going to predict anything like that, but you can still make it happen. And I'm praying that Stefanski can, really put it together offensively and, continue to lead us to, at the very least, a playoff berth. Like, I think this is the one year where a team of a fan base would be happier than ever with a first-round exit out of the playoffs. As much as
if we can, like you said, if we can just make it, it would be outstanding considering what we have and what we have to work with right now. I think 10, maybe 11's the magic number, but if we can get between 10 and 11 wins, I think we can make it.
So 10 and 7 is my magic number at this point, and I think we can get
which
there.
Which means we would have to go 4-4 down the stretch, which is very doable, I think.
And that starts with getting a big win against a division opponent, and that division opponent, being the Steelers this Sunday at home. And on top of that, Jim Donovan's going to be back in the booth this week.
Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that adds more motivation. You got to go out and win this game. And it almost feels like...
They need to bring somebody in. Somebody said bring either Jim Donovan or Nick Chubb in to crush the guitar before the game to get the fans riled up.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, they need the extra mojo after. I mean, at least this didn't happen mid-game, like Nick Chubb's knee absolutely getting obliterated. So I think we were kind of all caught off guard by that. So Deshaun got injured during the game and then couldn't miss, and we were kind of thrown for a loop the rest of that Pittsburgh game in week 2.
Yeah, I got a jolt of energy for you. Imagine this scenario. The Steelers get the ball first, they go 3 and out, they go to punt. And you look at the Browns special teams and they're like, hey, they don't got a returner out there, and come jogging out of the tunnel. The man himself, number 16, with them beautiful dreads hanging out the back of his helmet. My boy Josh
I think that's
Cribbs.
just a fantasy for you, buddy. I was having fantasies about Andrew Luck coming off his couch after 6 years out of the NFL.
I'd shit my pants if that actually happened.
Yeah, I was already creating fake TikTok videos in my head of Andrew Luck running out of the tunnel and pulling a Rocky 5, looking at Deshaun Watson on the sideline, being like, hey, you knock him down. Why don't you try knocking me down?
It's just, and then the song, The Sweet Victory with the SpongeBob band fucking plays in the background.
I was tuning that.
No, that'd be some funny shit. But you got anything else you want to throw in there?
I don't think so, man. I think we just need to withstand that insane Pittsburgh pass rush. Cam Hayward being back, an Ohio State guy, he always seems to absolutely do a number on us. So if our tackle play can be competent, I know the guy, Garrett Christensen, he had a pretty good week last week. Hudson did not impress me at all, really. I'm really hoping not Deshaun, but freaking DeJuan Jones comes back at right tackle. If we can get him back, I'd feel much better about facing TJ Watt on that right side. So if we can get him back, maybe Christensen can kind of hang in there at left tackle, and then those 3 guys in the middle I'm not worried about. That's the best part of our O-line. If they can just continue to do what they're doing, I think we'll be okay. It's just a matter of whether he can not turn the ball over, I think. Don't put the ball in harm's way. If you have one, I mean, he's going to probably have one turnover, but if you can limit it to maybe like 1 pick, 1 touchdown, or God forbid, even 2 touchdowns and 1 pick would be amazing.
Yeah, low bar of expectation, for DTR this week, and I think that'll ultimately be a good thing. But before we get out of here, let's get into the predictions, man. I'll let you go first, and then I'll take us home.
All right, man. This is probably me being cautiously optimistic again, but I am going to say the Browns win. It's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be physical, as every AFC North matchup is. Just looking at tonight, I mean, even Baltimore and Cincy. Burrow went out. Lamar was hobbled. There's people getting injured all over the place. These matchups are big. Cleveland-Pittsburgh is one of the bigger rivalries in the NFL. It may even be the biggest. I'm going to say Browns win in a low-scoring effort. It's going to be 17-14.
I love the optimism, buddy, but I'm going to be the party pooper. I'm hopeful, and I think there's definitely a path to victory here, but, with the notice of Deshaun being outweighing on this team and DTR, even with a week of prep, and I think he'll be much better, and I think it'll be much more competitive. It's still a really tough team to come in and try to get your sea legs on against, and
I like it much better knowing that we're at home.
That's
And
true. That is true.
I think this coaching has been good, and they've proven to me that they can get this team ready to play. I don't think they're going to be worrying. I mean, obviously it sucks Deshaun's not there, but I don't think they're going to be worrying about Deshaun not being out there. I think they're going to have him ready to play.
I'm that definitely can happen, and if any version of the Browns can do it, I definitely think it's this one. This could just be me being a bitter Browns fan that's just, preparing for the worst, but I find it really tough to, us to pull it off this week. And on top of that, maybe it's just a Pittsburgh thing that I get a bad feeling every time.
I can't handle another
Steelers.
Pittsburgh loss. I can't go 0-2 again.
I hope the fuck not, and I have confidence that we can get it done. But for now, I'm gonna go with just what my brain's telling me and not what my gut or my heart is telling me. And I'm gonna say,
God damn!
I'm gonna say the Steelers get this one done. I think we're gonna hang in there, and just some mistakes down the stretch that are irritating we're going to rant about in the post game is going to do us in, and I think the Pittsburgh Steelers get this one done. I'm going to say by a score of 23-14.
Yeah, I don't like that score.
And I'm assuming one score or even maybe two scores is going to be responsible of a turnover or just a shitty play that just goes wrong.
We need to avoid that at all costs. We can't have any plays like last week where you come out and throw a pick six first play of the game. I have a feeling it's going to be very run heavy on our first drive. Like, I don't think he's going to or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he comes out and runs a damn play action right out of the gates, but I think he's going to hand it to Ford or Kareem Hunt a couple times in the first drive.
Yeah, that'd be fun if we just open the game, empty fucking shotgun, he drops back and hums a ball 60 yards downfield to Amari Cooper for a touchdown, but, I'm going to...
Hey, if they're thinking run, maybe try a play action, and if you don't have anything, just throw it out of bounds. You just can't have any stupid turnovers this game, I think.
Yeah, just gotta hope we can somehow get it done, and with that... I think that's about all we got here. Austin, if you want to throw anything else in there, go for it, buddy.
I think I am all good, man. I mean, I kind of aired my frustrations out there. It's just been a rough week for Cleveland fans.
Yeah, so, again, he said it right there. It's been a rough week. Deshaun's out for the year. It's a tough pill to swallow, but ultimately you got to face the challenge ahead and, keep trucking towards that potential division win or playoff berth, whatever we can make happen. And, we'll see what happens. We'll see how DTR plays. We'll see who we bring in as a third quarterback. And with that, that's our thoughts on the game and, the Deshaun Watson situation in general. We appreciate you guys for watching. We hope there's a little bit of discourse among you guys this episode. I'm curious to see your guys' thoughts in the comments. For those of you watching, and once again, we appreciate you guys for listening, watching, however it is you get our information from our knucklehead selves. And once again, it's been another episode of Cold Takes from the Land, and we will see you, hopefully with a win, in the next one.
Cold Takes from the Land.